Hi, welcome. Today I'm going to walk you through some tips on how to photograph snowflakes. We're just going to focus on this being a family-friendly activity, so we're going to just be using some very basic tools and upcycling some items. We're just looking to make this be a positive experience, and if you want to invest in more expensive items later, that's great. This is just something that you can do. I would suggest using an old cell phone, just in case you drop it. Or your kids drop it, of course, because we're hoping to have this be a family activity. You know, if you're out and it's cold and your hands are a little numb and you accidentally drop the cell phone on the sidewalk, we don't want this to be a forever Thanksgiving story about how your child broke your brand new expensive cell phone. So we want this to be a positive experience for everybody. One thing that I suggest you get is a macro lens. You just clip this over top of your cell phone lens, your camera lens on your cell phone. This one is a 15 times macro lens, and it just clips right on to the side of the phone. And then I just use, you're going to want a towel to help you, keep this clear. You only want a thin layer of snowflakes at a time so that you can pick out the individual flakes. And then I just use some pieces of styrofoam to prop up the glass. Now make sure that you're using like a shatterproof glass, or even you can use like a flimsy piece of plastic to just whack out and get a thin layer of snowflakes on, and then bring back to a protected location. This is just inside my garage. Just a little bit, just enough to be out of the wind, but not far enough in that it's going to be so warm that the snowflakes melt. Because, of course, that is a huge issue. You want to make sure that you're wearing a mask so you're not breathing on the snowflakes, and that you have gloves on. I usually keep one hand free so that I can zoom in and out on my cell phone, but just be aware that your body heat will melt the snowflakes. So something for you to keep in mind. I know several people don't like to come out unless the temperatures are in the low 20s, just because the snowflakes do melt that fast, and it can be pretty frustrating. Something that I like to do is make sure that the glass is propped up on something so that the light can get underneath and bring out the details in the snowflakes, the crystals. And if it's at night, I like to make sure I have a flashlight that I can put underneath. I don't like to have the big overhead light because it just reflects off of the top glass, but I like to have a flashlight or a light source underneath. So, and then another big thing is the background, deciding what kind of background you want to have. A lot of times people will have a black background. I know one of the snowflakes I did, it was melting so fast that I just held the glass, and the background is actually my coat. So that one turned out pretty cool. But the other ones, I like to use just the back of tin foil, just aluminum foil, the non-shiny side, so the matte side of tin foil I really like to use for snowflakes. And then this is just a gift wrap, so one side is gold and shiny and the other side is the silver and shiny. And I find it really gives me a really cool bokeh effect at night. I just get different colors, like rainbow colors, back behind the snowflake. Because you are working so close with the glass, like because they're so small and your focus will be so close, you end up with a really cool bokeh effect in the background. So anyway, I hope these tips will help you. And a few other things I just thought of. If you haven't done any macro work before, a really good thing to practice with inside while you're still warm and toasty is poppy seeds from your spice cabinet. They're really small, but they're really neat to look at with the macro lens. That way you can also be experimenting with backgrounds. And you'll also want to make sure, especially when you're outside and you're going to be kind of cold and shivery, that you have something you can kind of lean against or put your arm up against just to steady your hand. So in my case, I have the wall of my garage that I can steady my arm on while I'm working, so that every little teeny move I make with my macro lens down here, it's kind of acting like a handheld microscope. So if I'm shivering, I'm really, if I'm shivering even a teeny bit, the snowflake will be going totally off focus. I mean, it looks kind of like this, but it seems more like this, just because of how small of a focus I'm trying to get. Anyway, I hope this is helpful to you, and good luck.